We're now joined by Bruce Boudreau. And Bruce, the Leafs continue to play well without Austin Matthews, finding a way without their captain and best goal scorer in the league. What would you say is the biggest reason Toronto has been able to succeed?
Well, you know what, Sarah, it's a great question, and I think there's a multitude of reasons. Number one is, I'm going to say, is they've, from the beginning of the season, like Craig Berube has got them playing defensively, so they're not going to allow a lot of goals whoever they play. And so, I mean, so whoever's out of the lineup, they're playing the same way. The second reason is their big three are really playing well. I mean, listen, you look at Nylander today with 2 points. You look at Marner getting 3 goals the other day. Tavares, another big goal at the end of the game. These guys are leading the way. But the other thing too is, there's a great little competition they'll never tell you about it, but I mean, in net here. And Joseph Woll today coming up with a breakaway save with 4 minutes to go in the game or so. These are the things that keep teams driving. But I really love the team play, and I really love that the fact that when Austin comes back, they're going to be a lot better team. But at the same time, they're saying we can play, if we play the same system and the same way, whoever's out of the lineup, we are going to be a tough team to beat. And the Leafs are a tough team to beat no matter who they play, whoever's in the lineup, whoever's out of the lineup.
So we're getting that all-around effort, top to bottom, from the team. Now, you mentioned Joseph Woll, and Anthony Stolarz' injury was a big blow for the Maple Leafs. So how would you grade the job Woll has done being the clear #1 right now in Stolarz' absence?
I think it's been excellent. He hasn't won every game, but at the same time, he keeps the Leafs in there. And every time I watch him, he makes big saves at the right time. I think this guy's as cool as a cucumber. And I don't know him from Adam, but he looks to me like he wants to say, okay, listen, I know it's a real big battle. Who's going to be playing the most games coming down the stretch? And he's just sitting there going, I'll show you how good I am. And now that he's been playing pretty regularly, well, very regularly, you're seeing that this guy's in a groove. He can play almost any night.
Well, those are all good things, Bruce. And for the Leafs, they can start 2025 the same way they ended 2024. They'll play the Islanders on Thursday.
What's the challenge that the New York Islanders presents?
Well, they're a pretty deep team all around. I think they got 6 D-men. They're over 6'1", 6'2", big D. They good goalie. Pretty balanced lineup up front. They came in here last time and beat us. So we got to be ready to go. It's going to be a tough game. They're not going to give you anything free, this team. They've always been a stingy defensive team, and I expect the same.
Sounds like you've got some illness going around the room. Can you give us an update on what's going on?
Holmberg and Ekman Larsson will be out tonight with illness. Yeah.
And is it are you worried it's going to be spreading in your room at this time of year?
Well, I'm not going to worry about that. If it happens, it happens. There's nothing I can do about it. So I'm just focused on the game and who's playing the game tonight for us, and how we need to get 2 points.
I know you talk about Austin every day, so I'll have to ask again what's the latest as far as how he's feeling.
Yeah, he skated yesterday and he had a good skate. I was glad he's out there. It was good to see him out there with us in practice, and really we go from there and see how he is progressing tomorrow and see if he's out there in practice again tomorrow with us.
With Holmberg out, how does that kind of change up what you might look at doing center-wise?
Well, I'm going to move Camp up where he was, and then Dewar will go in the middle on the 4th line. Yeah.
Yeah, Dewar, he's been really active, productive these last 2 games with his hits and his shot production. What have you seen out of him last week?
He's been a good player for us. He's had a lot of opportunities to score, which is great. He's getting chances. They'll go in eventually, but he's got to just keep doing what he's doing. He's from a penalty killing standpoint to being physical and just his work ethic. It's
The Leafs center dilemma: who can strengthen the roster? If you're a Toronto Maple Leafs fan like me, you know the team's center depth has been a constant concern this season. With Austin Matthews set to return from a mysterious upper body injury next week, the excitement of having our star back is palpable. However, there are still serious issues to address in the center position to keep the team competitive and, of course, fuel our playoff dreams. David Kampf, a key piece in the center rotation, is sidelined with a lower body injury. As if that weren't enough, Kaye Jarnkrok is still recovering from surgery, leaving another gap in the lineup. Max Domi, expected to be a versatile asset, has been placed on injured reserve, further aggravating the situation after missing consecutive practices due to lingering pains. To sum it up, the Leafs are missing 4 functional centers, and the pressure to act is mounting. James Mirtle, a respected Leafs analyst and contributor to The Athletic, highlighted a series of potential trade targets to address this dilemma during his appearance on the J.D. Bunke's podcast. Among the names mentioned, 2 stood out: Nick Jugstad and, for the nostalgic fans, a possible reunion with Ryan O'Reilly. Jugstad seems to be Mirtle's favorite, and for good reason. The player, who signed a 2-year deal with the Utah Hockey Club last offseason, carries a manageable $2.1 million cap hit, which is essential for a team as salary cap-strapped as the Leafs. Additionally, standing at 6 feet 6 inches and weighing 205 pounds, he would bring not only physicality but also consistent offensive contributions. Jugstad is the most viable option for the Leafs right now, Mirtle stated on the podcast. And he's right. Experienced and versatile, Jugstad has played for several teams, including the Florida Panthers, Pittsburgh Penguins, Minnesota Wild, and Edmonton Oilers, and could quickly adapt to the Leafs' dynamic. With an affordable contract and a solid track record, he offers a practical solution without sacrificing too many future assets. However, it's impossible to ignore the possibility of a Ryan O'Reilly return. Yes, we know he chose the Nashville Predators last summer in search of a quieter environment, but the Leafs management still holds him in high regard. The 2019 Stanley Cup winning captain with the St. Louis Blues is precisely the type of player any contender would love to have on their roster. However, the cost of bringing him back would be steep, both in terms of trade assets and cap space adjustments, as Nashville or a third team would need to retain part of his salary. I don't think the O'Reilly scenario is entirely out of reach, Mirtle said, showing that there's optimism within the organization. However, there are doubts about how much it's worth investing in a 33-year-old player, even with his impeccable credentials. Meanwhile, cheaper internal options like Steven Lorentz, Connor Dewar, Pontus Holmberg, and Fraser Minton have been mentioned. But let's be honest, these names might serve as short-term stopgaps, but they're far from offering the stability and impact the team needs. The pressure is all on GM Brad Treliving. He knows that despite the Leafs' solid performance so far, the center position is crucial to sustaining any championship aspirations. With the trade deadline approaching, Treliving has likely intensified his efforts to finalize a deal. And we, the fans, are eagerly awaiting good news. For now, all we can do is trust that the team can weather this tough phase and hope a solution, whether it's Jugstad, O'Reilly, or another name, arrives before things spiral out of control. After all, as we all know, the Leafs don't have the luxury of wasting another season with a promising but incomplete roster. The time to act is now. The Leafs center dilemma, expanding on the potential solutions. The Toronto Maple Leafs, amidst another promising yet tumultuous season, face one of their most pressing challenges, addressing a depleted center lineup that threatens to derail their momentum. While the return of Auston Matthews is a beacon of hope, the broader picture remains dire, requiring urgent action from the front office. With Kampf, Jarnkrok, and Domi sidelined, the team's depth has been stretched thin. The immediate impact is clear on both ends of the ice. Defensively, the Leafs are struggling to suppress opposing top lines without reliable two-way centers. Offensively, puck distribution and power play setups have been less dynamic, as the makeshift lineups lack the same chemistry. This imbalance underscores the necessity for reinforcements. Nick Jugstad, as highlighted by James Mirtle, presents the most realistic trade option. His affordable contract and towering physical presence align perfectly with the Leafs' needs. Beyond his imposing stature, Jugstad brings versatility. He can play both center and wing, a flexibility that would allow head coach Sheldon Keefe to adjust the lineup dynamically. However, acquiring Jugstad isn't without complications. The Utah Hockey Club, formerly the Arizona Coyotes, is currently rebuilding but may still demand a premium return for their experienced forward. The Leafs will likely need to part with a mid-tier prospect or draft pick to make the deal work. With their prospect pool already thin, Treliving faces a tough decision. Another name that excites fans and analysts alike is Ryan O'Reilly. The former Conn Smythe winner and Stanley Cup champion has a proven track record of elevating teams in high-stakes situations. His leadership during his brief stint with Toronto last season left a lasting impression. Yet, the Predators have little incentive to move him unless the offer is overwhelming. Should the Leafs pursue O'Reilly, it would almost certainly require a multi-asset package. A first-round pick and a promising young player like Nick Robertson might need to be part of the conversation. Additionally, Nashville would have to retain salary, a process that often involves a third-party team to facilitate. The logistics are challenging but not insurmountable. Internal options like Pontus Holmberg and Fraser Minton offer short-term relief but lack the experience needed for a deep playoff run. Holmberg has shown flashes of potential, but his limited NHL exposure raises questions about his readiness for a consistent role. Minton, while promising, is still developing and would be better served continuing his growth in the minors. A wild-card option could be exploring European leagues or waiver claims to unearth an overlooked talent. Teams like the Vegas Golden Knights and Colorado Avalanche have found gems in unconventional ways, and the Leafs scouting department may need to cast a wider net to uncover an affordable, immediate solution. Another factor complicating the Leafs' decisions is the looming salary cap crunch. With Matthews' extension set to kick in soon, Toronto must be mindful of every financial commitment. Adding a high-priced center now could limit flexibility during the off-season, forcing Treliving to juggle short-term needs against long-term sustainability. Trade timing will also play a pivotal role. Acting quickly could stabilize the team and prevent further slip-ups in the standings, but it may come at the cost of negotiating leverage. Alternatively, waiting closer to the deadline could yield better deals as selling teams grow more desperate. The risk, however, is enduring several more weeks of uncertainty. Sheldon Keefe's role in navigating this storm can't be overstated. His ability to extract maximum effort from an injury-riddled lineup will be crucial. Keefe has already experimented with unconventional line combinations, but the lack of true centers limits his tactical options. A new acquisition would provide the stability he needs to implement a more structured game plan. The Leafs locker room has remained resilient through adversity, with veterans like John Tavares and Morgan Rielly stepping up as vocal leaders. However, even their efforts may not be enough to overcome the absence of key personnel. Reinforcements are not just a luxury, they're a necessity. For fans, the anxiety is palpable. After years of playoff heartbreak, this season feels like another chapter in the saga of unmet expectations. Yet, there's cautious optimism. The team has shown glimpses of brilliance, and the addition of a solid center could be the missing piece that transforms them from contenders to genuine threats. As the trade rumors swirl, one thing is certain: the next few weeks will be critical in shaping the Leafs season. Whether it's Bjugstad, O'Reilly, or an unexpected name, the decision made by Brad Treliving and his staff could define not just this campaign, but the team's trajectory for years to come. For now, we wait, hopeful that the Leafs will seize the moment and finally deliver on their immense potential. Will the Leafs make their move? As the speculation intensifies, the Leafs fan base is holding its collective breath, waiting for signs of a breakthrough.